You got to find your fight in life. I don't care if it's another country. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's yourself. I don't care if it's a bad guy, the left, the right. You have to find your fight in life. So in this video here, I'm going to be talking about Ron DeSantis. Now there's so much fucking comedy gold with this guy. Let me just skip through the pictures real quick. There's so much fucking here. I wish I had more time to really dive into all the fucking Trump jokes and all the fucking details and all the stuff in the life of this guy's story. We're going to be doing more stuff on the website in the next couple of months. We're going to have some more different things and programs and writing that we're going to be doing. I think I'm going to be moving them down from 4 to 2. So I'm going to have more time to get like really high quality, high consume 2 of them rather than me just running through 4 of them. Because even I'm going, I wish I had more time, more depth to get into this. So he is a Republican. He is in the state of Florida and he's kind of a crazy guy. He's kind of a controversial guy. He kind of triggers people out, whatever. And if you live in Florida, you already got fucking bigger problems because you're in fucking Florida. So anyways, this guy's kind of risen to power as somebody who's standing up against the left. And this is something that we talk about a lot. It's kind of like the Andrew Tate concept of like, if you get too much wokeness, too much, however you want to describe it, that type of energy, if you get all this feminine, you're gonna get this intense masculine. You know what I'm saying? Out of every 10,000 people that are a little bit too weak and a little bit too woke, they're forcing into existence a Ron. And that's kind of what happens with the universe. So it's like, the more you kind of get used to that game, the more you're like, it's just another one of these. It's not that big a deal. Ron's trying to do his thing. So many bad things to say about Ron, but of course, like everybody, as a scientist, as a good person, you want to see the good in them as well. Lots of good things about Ron. So you need to get yourself ready. There's a lot of good things about Ron, plenty of bad, that's fine. You know, he's kind of a type that gets himself into a lot of trouble, or that I would say we see this type getting into a lot of trouble clustering. They're not a type that plays well with others, usually. So what's funny is that him and Trump kind of share the same archetype. So Trump being a double masculine, ESTP, sleep last, number 1, not done yet, with narcissism, fixed mindset, bad upbringing, and some other factors going on that we don't usually cover. Because most people, 99% of the time, they fall right into the factors of the 512 type, the social type, fixed and growth mindset. There's just a few basic things, and you really can get that 90-10 right there. So this Ron guy, he seems to kind of fit in the category of a double masculine, ESFP, sleep last, cranked all the way up as well, so almost the same as Trump. Also, I think, is a number 1. Now, he doesn't have the crazy brain quite as much as Trump. And so it's like a lot of times when you see these intense types, a number 1, double masculine, extrovert, DI, SE, ESTP, ESFP, whatever, they kind of tend to look more like Ron. Sure, they're a little tense, they're a little scary, but they're not like nobody's like Trump. So what's funny is that these two guys clash, and they're going to clash more and more. Now, at first, the 2 of them were buddies because they're like, oh yeah, kick the ass of the other people and beat up the minorities or whatever it is that they're into. So they're at first they're kind of united, and Trump's helping this guy, and off they go. And then of course, I mean, like if you can't see this coming yet, fucking Christ, pay attention in life. You should be able to see some of these fucking coming in your social life. Like fucking come on, it's the same fucking shit. And so then of course over time, Trump doesn't like him because Trump doesn't like anybody. Trump's insecure, Trump's hurt. Trump is the type of person, doesn't matter what type he is, he's always going to be mad at somebody, he's always going to find fault, he's always going to be negative. He's the type of person you have in that social group that is just always negative, always. You got to track time. Trump is so easy to track if you track the right things. If you track time, you'll see that Trump will love somebody. They're the best. This is like typical actual narcissism. They'll love somebody. They'll be the best because they're praising them. And then as soon as like one thing goes wrong, then he just burns them down. He hates everybody and just lives a very sad, lonely life. So poor Ron here is walking right the fuck into it, not even knowing what's happening because Demon NI Ron. It's not even Demon NI. It's that Ron himself is on a mission, so he's fucking blind, right? These are types just like the double masculine ESTPs. Some of my favorite personal guys that I follow are right in this rung, and as well as some of the biggest psychos, and literally, I don't say this to be funny, molesters are also in this column here. And that's something like, not that anybody fucking cares about like actual science or FBI or crime or anything like that, but like the amount of like crimes that we have clustering in docs doesn't mean if you're this or that, but see, that's what, like we can't share this shit. We can't share, because people can't even get over the fucking Enneagram bullshit. Like everybody just wants to talk and debate about the stupidest, smallest, dumbest, insignificant horoscope-like things. And it's like, oh, okay, we have FBI level data stacking up over here and nobody gives a shit about that. Oh, okay. I won't say anything then. What I found in these clips, I'm watching these clips of Ron going, all right, what the hell do I talk about with Ron? There's so many crazy different directions you can go with this guy. The thing that I saw with Ron is that the story he's going to tell is he's going through his life, just a total victim, just a total regular nice guy. I wasn't like this until they fucking made me. I'm just going through life. I'm a double masculine. Everything's fine. And then he gets to college and they fight. He goes to the woke college, and all of a sudden that like enrages him. It wakes him up, and he starts to see, he's like, I don't know what this leftist stuff is, but I'm not that. And so he finds his fight. And it's like left, right, like, come on, if you're still stuck on politics, you need to go somewhere else. This is going to blow your brain. There's too many things that you're going to get fucking offended by if you can't, like, okay, that's not real, that's not real, that's not real. That one's real. Like, hey, we've got 50 more of these. Like, come on. So with the left and the right, he's like, I'm on the right. I believe in Republican values and Christian values. I'm like, hey, great. It's a balance. It's like picking observer or decider. Like, what are you, fucking picking teams here? You fucking idiot. It's a balance. And obviously there's going to be an extreme either way. And when there's a build up on one, it forces the snapback of the other. And now you got yourself a fucking Ron, right? Anyways, so Ron, from his little fucking narrow point of view, his little fucking life, not looking at the bigger picture concepts here, Ron is like, I don't like this left stuff. And so he finds himself a fight, and Ron comes alive. Because you ask, like, this guy was a very accomplished guy. He went to colleges, like high colleges, Yale and stuff. He was in the military. Like, he was doing a lot of good, positive things. But he was still just a normal guy. Like, why did he go on this rampage of, like, I need to be the fucking governor of Florida and possibly even take on Trump and run for the presidency? Like, where is this guy getting all this fire? And that's what I'd ask you. If you don't like Ron DeSantis or whoever you don't like, or Trump, why are you letting him do so fucking much for the bad guys while you're sitting around? It's like, well, you don't have your fight. Like, literally think about when another country invades another country. You have all these people in country B. Country A invades country B. Everybody in country B just sitting around, normal people. I don't know. My life sucks. Things are kind of hard. I don't know what to do. What's my life path? Nobody likes me. How do I find the date? It's like, okay, fine. You're playing all this just sad, mopey coping games. And then here comes fucking invaders. And all of a sudden, the apartment complex next to you gets blown up. All of a sudden, there's weird, ancient instincts that come alive. And everybody has a common enemy. When everybody has a common enemy, and that common enemy is 90% or more of everything you fucking care about, because you got all these programs going all these different fucking directions. I like this 10%. I like this 20%. I like this 5%, which is why you're just a fucking brain divided in the same predictable fucking circles. You get that fucking brain focused on one thing, 90% on, oh my God, there's invaders in my country, and all your buddies are also focusing on the same thing. You got yourself fucking greatness. You have yourself people that all of a sudden come alive. They all individually find their fight, and they all fight together. And you have, unfortunately, some of the greatest experiences of the human species is when they're united against a common enemy. So the power in having a fucking enemy is nuclear level power.
I wasn't like a refined conservative in terms of politics because I was mostly into sports and things like that. But you start sitting in some of these classrooms, and even though one of Yale's mottos is for God, for country, for Yale, sit in the classroom attacking religion, attacking God, attacking the United States. I'm sitting in class and they're saying that the U.S. was to blame for the Cold War, not Joseph Stalin. So this is and I had never experienced that because growing up in Dunedin, I didn't know if people were Republican or Democrat. You know, you had both of them, but everyone kind of believed in the core American principles. And so that was my exposure to the left. And I think what it did for me was it was so different from what I thought was appropriate that I wasn't influenced by it in terms of it pulling me in that direction. I rebelled the other way. So by the time I got through college and law school, I was definitely set. Although when I was running for Congress, I kind of tell the story in the book. I was green. I had never run before. I had kind of an impressive resume. I had served in Iraq and done things. So there were things that conservative primary voters would like.
It just keeps going. A little typing lesson. This is like DI, extrovert, consume. Okay, that's what you really tracks. Like, okay, is this a story about play energy about others? No, not really. Is this the same old story about? No. This is me, random shit about me, and cranked all the way up extrovert. So look for that when you're trying to type somebody. Make it very simple, right? So the next clip, you're going to see a little bit of possibly a number one. Like, it doesn't seem to be like a fucking crazy number one, but he seems to have like, hey, the number one is like, all right. The number one is very DI. It's very like, all right, I know what to do here, guys. I know what to do. I need to be the example. I need to lead. I need to be the fighter pilot. I need to be Wally Waldo Wallington guy. And I got to go and I got to lead the way and I got to help everybody and then they can follow me. Just 2 seconds on that. And this is something I want to talk about more. If you are a number one and you're this type, hey, you got yourself a good deck of cards. You got that silly, smiley, stupid face. If you're a number one and you got this fucking deck of cards, you're DI, extrovert, and double masculine, and you're headed for the top, or you're going to fucking steamroll everybody, right? Now, if you're this type and you're a number three, that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard because it's going to be the most like conquering, go get 'em, ego driven, smash, new. And then your social type's like, no, you don't. And it wants to bring you back to consistency. And you'll see this. That's what we kept seeing in the data. We're like, why is this Ron so different from this Ron when they're the same goddamn type? Like, oh, the social types make so much sense. So there is a big difference of like, okay, which deck of cards did you get 512? So you got to sift that out. That's traumatizing enough. You're like, oh, I got this one. And then you got to look like, okay, so which sexual versions? That also makes a difference. If you're double masculine this or double feminine this, right? That makes a difference. And then it's like, which social type? And then a lot of times the social types will go together with the 512 type and the sexual energy. In this case, they all line up.
But, you know, you see Yale and Harvard. That is like people say, liberal elitist stuff. And so the question was, how do I prove that I'm actually mean what I say? And I was like, listen, how many people that you know go up to Washington, they say they're going to do these things, and then the swamp co-ops them, and they end up not following principle? Well, listen, look at me. I got through Yale and Harvard and came out more conservative than when I went in. The swamp's going to have nothing on that, and they appreciated that. But I always told myself, none of this will fly in the real world, because you get out there, this is all just pie in the sky stuff. Well, I think, though, the joke was actually on me, because I think what we see with a lot of the woke ideology and all these institutions in society, this is a reflection of what a lot of these universities have produced over the last generation. And so we're reaping a lot of what was sowed in those classrooms 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago.
So you're really fucked when you actually think that things are real because of the bad guys. Also, you know, the way the society is bad is because of the left and the woke, and things wouldn't be that bad if it wasn't them. You're like, you're such a fucking idiot. If you really think that that's how you still believe in monsters under the bed. Well, you know, it was Satan. He did it. It was the bad guys. They did it. It was the Russians. It was the Chinese. It was the aliens. You know, the aliens are fucking with us. You know that, right? So it's like, you really think the world is bad because it's like, that's why we call them demons. You're taking what you don't like, the blind, and then you're like making it a censor. And then you're like war painting it on the bad guys. And like literally people are so tribal and so racist, and you'll see it in politics. And then you're like, okay, Ron, then let's go find 50 leftists and let's bring them over. They're all loving people. They're a little dumb, just like Ron. They're a little crazy, just like Ron. They're a little intense, just like Ron. They have weird backstories, just like Ron. But they care about everybody. They love everybody. They're trying to help their friends and family. They're trying to help their... So where's the bad guy? But then also know that Ron here, he has found his fight. Now it happens to be the left. I wouldn't recommend fighting the aliens or fighting some other country or fighting your mom or fighting your neighbors or fighting me or fighting this or fighting... you might want to look at, if you got to have a fight, fight yourself. Fight your fucking self. Because as funny as Ron is, and as bad as the left is and the right, as bad as all it is, I know my biggest problem, my biggest fight is with this IJ, consume last, NF, know-it-all. So when something goes wrong that Ron trips over or the left trips over, I'm like, yeah, that was my consume blind spot. I should have saw that. Yep, I should have communicated that better. I should have researched that. I should have been aware with that. I should have helped others. I should have talked with others. Like, it falls back on self.
Tell me about that. What caused you to say, you know, I got to do something about this?
Well, think about it, Mark. So, you know, I got reelected in November 2022. Largest vote that any Republican governor in Florida history's got. Largest vote margin any governor candidate's ever got. 1.5 million votes. I can win by 1.5 million votes. Make the Democratic Party in our state basically a rotten carcass on the side of the street. And yet, the left can still impose their agenda on my people if I'm not looking after fighting ESG and other woke companies and some of the stuff going on in the universities and the schools. And so I think I have an understanding that these fights are far broader than just one particular election. Yes, you do have to fight the woke in the halls of government and in legislative chambers. And we have supermajorities as Republicans in Florida, so we will win all those fights. But you also have to be willing to defend your folks against this agenda being shoved down their throat from all these other institutions where these people aren't necessarily coming up for elections. So you talk about things.
Fight yourself, Ron.